And my final advice, alhamdulillah, we're students of knowledge, we're doing our best, no claims here. I mean, unfortunately, we didn't have Shaykh Abdullah bin Bayya. He was here, he had to go. He really wanted to stay. He told me to give his greeting. I mean, he's real alim, so they say if there's no water, use tayammum, but even tayammum claims, I'm not making them, I'm just, the ulama, they say that you have to take from people. We in hadith literature, you have what's called a wijada. Wijada is, the early muhaddithun were completely against it. The idea that you could just take a book of hadith and start transmitting them or something. No, you had to take books from scholars, either munawala or qira'ah, or imba, some way. Sometimes they would give you their corrected text and give you ijazah, and then you could relate it even if you didn't read them with them. But the idea of just going and buying a book in a store was completely rejected by the early community. And we're in Asr al-Wijada. This is the Asr of Wijada. It's just people go and they get on Google or they buy a book and they become faqih and start giving fatwa and things like that. So the ulama, our ulama say, Abu Hayyan al-Tawhidi has some famous lines. He said, يَظُنَّ الْغُمْرُ أَنَّ الْكُتُبَ تَهْدِي أَخَ فَهْمٍ لِإِدْرَاكَ الْعُلُومِ. That the inexperienced one thinks that books will guide the one of cleverness to understanding. Somebody who's smart, he's smart. وَلَا يَدْرِي الْجُهُولُ بِأَنَّ فِيهَا غَوَامِضَ حَيَّرَةَ عَقْلَ الْفَهِيمِ. But the ignorant one doesn't know that in these books are difficulties that confuse even the most intelligent people. إِذَا رُمْتَ الْعُلُومَ بِغَيْرِ شَيْخٍ ضَلَلْتَ عَنَ الصِّرَاطِ الْمُسْتَقِيمِ. If you try to get these sciences without a teacher, you will go astray. وَتَلْتَبِسُ الْأُمُورُ عَلَيْكَ حَتَّى تَصِيرَ أَضَلَّ مِنْ تُومَ الْحَكِيمِ. And you will go more astray, and things will become so confused that you'll end up like Thomas, the doctor. There's different variations of what happened to him, but they say he inherited books, and in one of the books it said, Al-Habbatu Sawda Dawa'un min kulli da. The black seed is a cure of every disease, but the transcriber, the scrivener, had put 2 dots. So he read it, Al-Hayatu Sawda. The black snake is a cure for every disease. So he let a black snake bite him and he died. So that's Tum al-Hakim. Ibn Arif has some lines. He says, "Man lam yushafah aliman bi usulihi, fayaqinuhu fil mushkilati dhununu." If you don't hear orally from teachers and the foundations that they have, your certainty in the difficulties will just be doubt. من أنكر الأشياء دون تيقن وتثبت فمعاند مفتون. If you reject things without ascertaining what they are, like people that just make a rejection, oh, that's hadith mawdu'. They don't know. They don't know. There's a hadith, and I quoted it one time, it said, أنا مدينة العلم وعلي بابها. I'm the city of knowledge and Ali is its door. And somebody said, hadith mawdu', لا أصل له. And just like, I was like, okay, I didn't know. But I went back and I checked, and it's a hadith, it's there. The ulama, there's some difference of opinion about it, but it's a hadith, it's related by muhaddithun. The hadith, once I heard another time a hadith quoted, اطلب العلم ولو في الصين, seek knowledge even in China. حد موضوع لا أصل له. People say these things like they're nothing. Just, the ulama of adab, if you read their book, they say, لم أقف عليه. I didn't find this hadith. They don't say, لا أصل له. Every hadith in the world, mashallah, you acknowledge. There are books of hadith that were destroyed. We lost hadith. A lot of the hadith in the Ihya, some of the ulama say that those hadith came from other sources. But that hadith is related by Hafid al-Maghrib ibn Abd al-Barr in the Kitab al-Ilm. And the meaning is sound, and it's been quoted for centuries by the ulama as being a sound meaning. So he says, if you reject things without really ascertaining whether they're true or not, and tathabbut, he said you're just mu'anid maftoon. You're an obstinate, deluded person. And then he said, al-kutubu tadhkiratun liman huwa alimun. Books are a reminder for scholars who already know. وَالصَّوَابُهَا بِمُحَالِهَا مَعْجُونُ. And what's right in those books and what's impossible or difficult in those books is mixed together. They're mixed together. And then he said, وَالْفِكْرُ. That's a beautiful last line. Because he says, وَالْفِكْرُ غَوَّاصٌ عَلَيْهَا مُخْرِجٌ وَالْحَقُّ فِيهَا لُؤْلُؤٌ مَكْنُونٌ. He does in the very thing he's warning you from. He makes it very hard to understand, the last line. He said that the idea, understanding, can only be brought out by somebody who dives deep. And the haqq in these books is like pearls that are buried. You have to, the pearl diver has to learn how to hold his breath. It's a science it's transmitted. But pearl divers traditionally, they can hold their breath much longer than normal people. And they dive deep so they know how to get the pearl and then they come up. And that's the same with books, the warning that he's making, Ibn Arif, about that. So, alhamdulillah, all of the teachers here have, studied with teachers. Mashallah, we have, Dr. Omar, I consider him alim in the West, definitely. But we're students of knowledge, and so, claims, just we'll do our best, inshallah, and inshallah, try to overlook any mistakes. Subhanakallah wa bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk.